So you're probably like me when you got this email. And you're probably like, standard mode, advantage mode. Eh, what does that really mean? Like, is it actually gonna bring you more money? Is it actually gonna do anything good for you? Man, should I even care about this? And like, is it even worth my time? Well, this is the email. This is what's been going on. So let me keep you up to date. So obviously, I live in South Florida. South Florida is one of the markets that they piloted this new program that they are doing now called Advantage Mode and Standard Mode. Good old Advantage Mode and Standard Mode. So when you see that, you probably think, oh, well, a standard driver and an advantage driver, yeah, that means, obviously I want to be an advantage driver, and it makes sense why you would say that. So the whole standpoint is with advantage mode. So if you're a standard driver, you get nothing but trip radar requests, is what they say. And as an advantage mode driver, you get exclusive requests. And you also get a 5% bonus on all of your trips, is what they tell you. So just by that, it's like, oh, they're going to pay me more for the same trip? Yeah, I'm going to be a advantage mode driver. The problem that they don't tell you is that, as you can hear the plane going by, the problem that they don't tell you is that, so I guess I'll go through both sides. As a standard driver, you're going to get nothing but trip radar. And to some that may sound crazy. To others, that could be a good thing, because when you're getting nothing but trip radar requests, it's not affecting your acceptance rate, which I know a lot of you guys care about. And it's being pinged off to the other drivers. So you got to be quicker to get it. The general sense. Now, of course, there's times where you're going to be quick and you still won't get it. But I mean, it's basically like an auction. If you've ever been to an auction or you've ever seen it on TV, because why? It's like they have this ride. The ride is going for $10 for 20 minutes. Let's say that. $10 for 20 minutes. And they ping it to a bunch of drivers. And whichever driver is quickest in saying, hey, me, by tapping a button, is the one that gets it. So you'll get all of these trip radar requests all throughout your day. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get exclusive requests. It just means, and from what I understand, it means that the trip radars that you're getting are the rejects, the exclusive requests that were declined are going to be majority of your trip radar requests, which sounds worse than it actually is. And I can tell you that, I can be honest with you, it definitely sounds worse than it actually is, because it's like, damn, so all I'm going to get is rejects. All I'm going to get is the crap. All I'm going to get is the foolishness. But that's what they want you to believe. And that's the standpoint that a standard mode driver, you have to kind of level. You kind of got to recognize in your own self. So as a standard mode driver, the way to be successful is getting used to trip radar. So when you're getting used to trip radar, you don't just go for every single thing. And that's what it comes down to. Every single ping that pops up on your screen, you don't go for because it's a trip radar. You go for the ones that make the most sense. So a standard mode driver is also more probably a cherry picker, probably a driver that doesn't accept everything. So it kind of fits. So the way it works is you will be a standard mode driver. And again, of course, I live in South Florida. And here in South Florida, everybody has a muffler. So, but even as a standard mode driver, the way that you become a standard mode driver is you have to have under a 25% acceptance rate, is what they say. It's under a 25% acceptance rate, under an 8% cancellation, well, over an 8% cancellation rate. And then it also deals with your CMT score. I think it's 81 or lower will also make you a standard mode driver. And it just means you're gonna get those trip radars, you know? So as to be successful as a standard mode driver, and I keep saying it, you know, but to be successful is you just gotta get used to getting trip radars, you know? So you can decline as much as you want. You just got to understand, okay, when it's actually important, you got to be paying attention to your phone. You got to be on top of it. You got to be like watching your phone like a hawk to a certain extent, you know, because you don't know when an actual good ping will come. Because let's be honest, you know, if you're a driver, we decline stuff sometimes just because, you know, we're going a different way. We decline stuff just because we want to take a break. You know what I'm saying? We decline stuff just because. You know, I decline stuff based on the rating, on the passenger rating. So it doesn't necessarily mean that all trip radar, all of the rides that you get are going to be trash. It's not true. You know, I've gotten really good rides through standard mode. So I should preface this with, I've been both. So they've been kind of pushing this whole standard mode, advantage mode thing since the summer for us. Of course, I live in the South Florida market, Miami to be exact. So we're talking about since like July, I want to say, is when they started this whole program. And it was beautiful at first, but yeah. You know, so when it first came out, I was an advantage mode driver, in which I'll kind of get into that type of strategy. But these last 2-3 months, I haven't been. And honestly, in my opinion, if your market is in season, if your market is busy, I prefer, now that I've had the option of being both, and I've been both. So like in my case, I was standard mode for the last 3 months. I've been declining all types of foolishness because our market has been fairly decent. You know, we had big events, Art Basel, 3 Points. We now have games happening now almost every other night. We got events, we got concerts going on. And it's just overall, this is our season. You know, we got the tourists here. So it's a large amount of volume. It's a bigger amount of volume for us as drivers in my market. Obviously, it's still saturated, but whatever. I'm enjoying it nevertheless because it's money. It's money and it's an opportunity. So for me, it's been better to be a standard mode driver because I have the volume. Now, during the summer, when the volume wasn't necessarily there, when, you know, it was more of a struggle, I was actually an advantage mode driver. And when you're an advantage mode driver, again, you have to be above that threshold. So you want to have an acceptance rate above 25, right? Acceptance rate above 25. You want to have a cancellation rate under 8%, so lower than 8%. And you want to have a good CMT score above 81 is what they kind of say. And I think your driver rating has to be over 4.9. I think that part I don't know. But I mean, most of us drivers have above a 4.9. It's kind of hard to get down below a 4.9. Even me, with all of my retaliation and issues that I have with my passengers, I'm not even close to a 4.9. But, you know, yes, I think you also have to have that rating. But when you're an advantage mode driver, not a standard mode driver like I've been the last 2 months, when you're an advantage mode driver, you then have the ability to now, well, not the ability, but like now your offers, your pings are going to come in as exclusive requests. Yay! So you don't have to worry about a trip radar. It's coming directly to you, and you got the normal 3-4 seconds to select the ride. You know, I think it's 3-4 seconds. Yeah, it's like 4 seconds, and as long as you select it, it's your ride. You know, because it's exclusive to you. And what they tell you is that you get an extra 5% on top of the ride. Extra 5%. So they are paying you just a little bit more to accept that ride. Now, again, when you're getting nothing but the difference between standard mode and advantage mode is you're getting in advantage mode, you're getting nothing but exclusive requests. So every ride that you decline and it's in advantage mode is going to accept your acceptance rate because it's exclusive to you. On the flip side, Trip Radar has nothing to do with your rating. Nothing whatsoever. I think it only benefits it. It doesn't hurt it, is what I'm saying. So if you're a person that cares about your rating, being an advantage mode driver is gonna be tough. It is gonna be tough, and you gotta get used to it. So, you know, you can't, I mean, yes, again, remember, all you have to have is a 25% or better. But we all know that rating is gonna go up. All of those different levels that I said are gonna go up. But as of the recording of this video, it's only 25%. But give it like a couple weeks. Yeah, that's gonna be like 50 and 60 and 80. And you know, what it is basically they are becoming what DoorDash does, or yeah, basically what food delivery does, where they have these little metrics that you got to meet to quote unquote get better rides. Now, overall, the rides aren't better. They're not better in terms of $1 per mile, like a lot of you guys feel like. They're not better in terms of, you know, better passengers. Like you won't get a 4.6 rated passenger as exclusive request. They're not better in that sense. They're just better in the sense of you don't have to deal with Trip Radar. You don't, when you hear that ping, that's your trip, you know? Because the thing about Trip Radar is even if you're super fast, now we all know that the algorithm picks and chooses what it does. And that's the thing about Trip Radar. So you can be the fastest person to click it, but you still give it to somebody else. And, you know, it just is what it is. If they want to give that ride to somebody, they're going to give that ride to somebody. Remember, this isn't our platform. So it's not a big deal in that sense to me. I mean, yeah, there are some really good rides that I would love to get in Trip Radar, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's not my platform. If I don't get it, I don't get it, you know. I look at it like it's an advantage. You see what I'm doing? It's an advantage for Uber to give me the better rides because the passengers are going to be, you know, they're going to have a good time. It's a good environment. I'm highly tipped. I'm highly rated, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it would be more beneficial for them to just give me the rides, you know, the ones that I'm trying to select. But that doesn't happen. Uber doesn't care. Remember, it's all algorithm based. It's all algorithm based. And it's based on their metrics. Uber is always going to do what is best for them, not what is best for you. And not necessarily what is best for the customer. Because, you know, there's been a bunch of times where it's like I've gotten a ping and it's telling me to go 15 minutes to drive to the customer. Is that best when there's another driver that's like down the street? No, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's based on their algorithm. It's based on how they look at things. So, you know, back to being an advantage mode driver, I've currently went back to being an advantage mode driver because, you know, like I go back and forth. I go back and forth. And I think realistically you should too. If you're watching this video, if you're thinking about it, I think going back and forth is the best way that you're going to figure out what works best for you. So for me, I hate advantage mode. I'm going to be honest, because everything comes up as exclusive and it's like, bro, I like Trip Radar better. I think Trip Radar rides are better. You know, when I go to the airport, I'm not constantly kicked to the back of the queue, you know, for declining rides. you know, when I'm driving around, because y'all know if you decline too many rides on the streets, then Uber will take away, you know, they'll send you a couple rides that won't have the upfront details. And y'all know the games Uber plays when you decline. So, you know, as an advantage mode driver, technically you have the benefit. Technically. But it's completely up to you. You got to find that out for yourself, what works better, you know. So, like, there are people that enjoy being an advantage driver. I don't because, you know, I'm trying to meet a certain amount. I have a certain goal every day. And being advantage, it kind of messes up that goal sometimes. Because as an advantage mode driver, you have to accept, well, you are incentivized to accept certain things. And some of those rides aren't the greatest. But you got to accept it to keep your advantage. While as a standard driver, they don't care about you. They just throw you to the back of the line. You feed you to the wolves. Only the strongest will survive, which I like, you know, because I could beat out a couple people with Trip Radar. But that's how I look at it, you know. But yeah, this is coming to everybody's market. They are expanding it, as you can see in the email. So you kind of got to get prepared. But yeah, with that being said, man, I have rambled. I have talked. I hope it makes sense what standard and advantage mode is. If not, leave a comment down below. Check the links in the description. If you're not a part of the free Telegram group, it is a little community that we building, community of drivers. So you should be a part of it. But yeah, with that being said, man, I am out of here. Deuces.